A homeless black mom's tears fell as her car broke down. Elon Musk stopped, listened, and what he did next changed her life forever. The evening was unusually quiet as Elon Musk drove down a dimly lit road. The hum of the car's engine was the only sound breaking the silence. He had just left a long meeting, the weight of decisions and deadlines still lingering in his mind. All he wanted was to clear his head on this solitary drive home. As he rounded a bend, something caught his eye. A car parked awkwardly on the shoulder of the road, its hazard lights blinking faintly. Standing beside it was a woman, holding a little girl close. Elon slowed down, his headlights illuminating the scene. The woman looked distraught, her face a mixture of worry and exhaustion. The child, barely older than 6 or 7, clung to her side, her small hand gripping her mother's tattered coat. Elon's instinct was to keep driving. After all, the world's demands on him never stopped. But something about their silhouettes in the faint light stirred him. He pulled over, rolling down his window. The woman turned her head quickly, her face filled with both hope and hesitation. "Everything okay here?" Elon asked, his voice steady but warm. The woman hesitated, as if unsure whether to trust him. "Our car broke down," she finally said, her voice trembling. "I'm just trying to get my daughter to a shelter before it gets too late." Elon's gaze shifted to the little girl. Her large, tired eyes stared back at him, a mix of curiosity and sadness. The sight of her innocence struck him deeply. Something about this moment felt urgent, as though walking away would leave more broken than just their car. Without another thought, Elon turned off his engine, stepped out, and walked toward them. Whatever it was they were going through, he knew he couldn't just leave them there. Elon walked toward the woman, noticing how she tightened her grip on the little girl's shoulder, a natural instinct to protect. The streetlight above flickered faintly, casting shadows on her weary face. She looked as though life had given her more struggles than she deserved. "Hi, I'm Elon," he said gently, keeping his voice calm to not startle her. "What's going on with your car?" The woman hesitated before speaking, her voice barely above a whisper. "I think the engine's overheated. I've been trying to get to the shelter across town, but it broke down here." She paused, glancing at her daughter, who stood silently, her head resting against her mother's side. "Do you have anyone to call for help?" Elon asked. She shook her head, her expression a mix of embarrassment and despair. "I don't have much left. My phone died earlier, and I spent the last of my money on gas. I was just hoping to get through tonight." The raw honesty in her words hit Elon like a wave. It wasn't just the broken car that was the problem. It was everything. The woman was fighting battles he could hardly imagine, and it was clear she was losing. "What's your name?" Elon asked, crouching slightly to be at the little girl's eye level. "Lisa," the woman answered before gently nudging her daughter forward. "And this is Ava." Elon smiled at Ava, who stared at him with wide, curious eyes. "Hi, Ava. I like your coat," he said, pointing to her colorful but visibly worn jacket. "Thanks," she mumbled shyly, her small voice barely audible. Elon stood back up and glanced at Lisa. "Let me see what I can do about the car," he said, moving toward the hood. Lisa looked at him, a mix of surprise and gratitude crossing her face. "You don't have to," she said quickly. "I know I don't," Elon replied, lifting the hood and peering inside. "But I want to." As he examined the engine, Lisa watched him, her hands nervously gripping Ava's shoulders. For the first time in what felt like forever, she didn't feel completely alone. When Elon closed the hood, he turned to Lisa with a determined look. "This isn't something I can fix here, but let's figure this out together." Lisa nodded, her eyes brimming with tears. In that moment, she didn't just see a man helping with a car, she saw hope. Elon reached into his pocket, pulling out his phone. "Let me call a towing service to get your car to a repair shop," he said calmly. Lisa hesitated for a moment, then nodded, her expression softening with a trace of relief. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice trembling. While Elon arranged for the tow, he noticed Ava shivering in the cool night air. Without a second thought, he walked back to his car, grabbed a blanket he kept in the trunk, and draped it gently over her small shoulders. Ava's wide eyes looked up at him, and for the first time that night, she smiled. "Feeling warmer now?" Elon asked with a grin. Ava nodded shyly, holding the edges of the blanket close to her face. As the tow truck was on its way, Elon turned to Lisa. "You can't stay out here tonight. It's not safe, especially for Ava. Do you have any other options if the shelter doesn't work out?" Lisa shook her head, her face clouded with worry. "I've been trying to keep things together since I lost my job. We've been moving from one place to another. The shelter was my only plan for tonight." Elon studied her face for a moment, sensing the exhaustion behind her brave front. "Okay," he said firmly. "Here's what we'll do. I'll make sure you have a safe place to stay tonight, and we'll figure out the rest in the morning." Lisa blinked, her lips parting as if to argue, but no words came. She looked down at Ava, then back at Elon. "I don't know how to thank you," she said softly. "You don't have to," Elon replied. "Just focus on Ava, that's all that matters." When the tow truck arrived, Elon spoke briefly with the driver, covering the expenses out of his pocket. He then called his assistant, arranging for Lisa and Ava to be taken to a nearby hotel where they could rest for the night. As they got into the car that Elon had called for them, Lisa turned back one last time, her eyes meeting his. "Why are you doing this?" she asked, her voice filled with genuine wonder. "Because everyone deserves a little help sometimes," Elon said with a gentle smile. "And right now it's your turn." The door closed, and as the car drove away, Elon stood for a moment in the quiet night, knowing this was only the beginning of what he needed to do. The next morning, Elon couldn't shake the image of Lisa and Ava from his mind. He called the hotel to check in on them and arranged to meet them for breakfast. When they arrived at the cafe, Lisa's expression was a mix of gratitude and hesitation. Ava, now in clean clothes provided by the hotel, clutched a small teddy bear she must have brought from the car. "Good morning." Elon greeted them warmly, gesturing for them to sit. "I hope you both got some rest." "We did," Lisa said, her voice soft. "Thank you. I don't even know how to begin thanking you for what you've done." Elon waved it off. "Let's just start with breakfast," he said with a smile, handing Ava the menu. "Order whatever you'd like." As they ate, Elon gently steered the conversation. "Lisa, I'd like to know more about your situation, only if you're comfortable sharing." Lisa hesitated, glancing at Ava, who was happily focused on her food. She took a deep breath and began. "I wasn't always struggling like this. I used to work as a receptionist at a law firm. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was enough to keep us stable." Her voice grew heavier as she continued. "Things changed when Ava's dad left us. He just disappeared one day, and I had to manage everything alone. At first, I thought I could handle it, but then the law firm downsized, and I was let go. I tried to find other work, but without childcare, it became nearly impossible." Elon listened intently, his eyes never leaving hers. He could see the pain in every word she spoke, but also the determination in her voice. "We managed for a while," Lisa said, her voice breaking slightly. "I sold most of what we owned to pay the rent, but eventually there was nothing left to sell. We were evicted last month, and since then, we've been living in the car." Elon felt a pang in his chest. "That's a lot to carry on your own," he said gently. "You're incredibly strong to have come this far." Lisa shook her head, tears welling up in her eyes. "I don't feel strong. Every day I feel like I'm failing Ava. She deserves so much better than this." At that, Ava looked up from her plate and smiled. "You're the best mom ever," she said softly, her voice filled with childlike certainty. Lisa's tears fell freely now, and Elon handed her a napkin. "Lisa," he said, his tone firm but kind, "you've done everything you can. Now it's time for someone else to help." Lisa met his gaze, her eyes full of vulnerability. "Why would you help us?" You don't even know us." Elon leaned forward slightly. "Because I've been in tough spots too. And because you've shown incredible resilience. Sometimes all it takes is a little push to turn things around." In that moment, the weight Lisa had been carrying seemed to lift, just a little. For the first time in weeks, she allowed herself to believe that things might get better. As Lisa finished sharing her story, Elon sat back in his chair, his mind racing. He'd encountered many challenges in life, but hers felt deeply personal. Her unwavering determination to protect her daughter despite everything was something he couldn't ignore. Elon glanced at Ava, who was now happily drawing on a napkin with crayons provided by the cafe. Her small face lit up as she concentrated, her world momentarily free from worry. He couldn't help but think about how easily her potential could be lost if nothing changed. "Lisa," he began, leaning forward, "you've done an incredible job holding things together, but you shouldn't have to do this alone. I'd like to help in a way that truly makes a difference." Lisa blinked, unsure if she'd heard him correctly. "You've already done so much. You don't have to—" "I know I don't have to," Elon interrupted gently, "but I want to. This isn't just about fixing a car or paying for one night in a hotel. You need stability, a foundation to rebuild your life." Her hands trembled slightly as she held her coffee cup. "What do you mean?" she asked cautiously. Elon's voice was steady but kind. "First, I'm arranging for housing. A safe place where you and Ava can feel secure. No more sleeping in the car, no more worrying about where you'll go next." Lisa's eyes widened, and she shook her head as if trying to process his words. That's too much." "It's not too much," Elon said firmly. "It's the least I can do. And that's not all. I'll also set you up with a job at Tesla. We'll start with training and make sure it's something you can grow into. I want you to have more than just a paycheck. I want you to have a future." Tears streamed down Lisa's face. "Why would you do this for us?" she whispered, her voice breaking. "Because I believe in helping people who are willing to fight for their lives," Elon replied. "You've done everything you can for Ava. It's time someone stepped in to help you." Lisa covered her face with her hands, overcome with emotion. Ava looked up from her drawing and smiled, sensing her mother's relief even if she didn't fully understand it. Elon smiled at both of them. "This is just the beginning. Let's make sure you have everything you need to turn things around." In that moment, hope replaced despair, and Lisa realized she wasn't alone anymore. The following morning, Lisa woke up in the hotel room with Ava sleeping peacefully beside her. For the first time in weeks, Lisa felt a strange sensation, relief. The weight of uncertainty that had consumed her seemed lighter, even if only for a moment. She glanced out the window, letting the morning sunlight warm her face, and silently hoped that the promises made by Elon Musk were not just a fleeting gesture. A knock at the door startled her. She opened it to find a member of Elon's team standing there with a polite smile. "Good morning, Lisa," he said. "We're here to take you and Ava to see your new home." Lisa's breath caught. "Our new home?" she repeated, barely able to believe the words. "Yes, Mr. Musk has arranged everything. Let's get you both ready." Moments later, Lisa and Ava were escorted to a sleek car waiting outside the hotel. Ava, clutching her teddy bear, looked out of the window with wide-eyed wonder as the car wove through the city streets. Lisa couldn't bring herself to ask questions. She was too overwhelmed to process what was happening. After a short drive, the car turned onto a quiet, tree-lined street and stopped in front of a charming house with a small garden and freshly painted shutters. Lisa stared in disbelief. This can't be for us," she whispered. The man from Elon's team smiled. "It is. Let's take a look inside." Lisa and Ava stepped out of the car, their feet hesitant on the driveway. As they entered the house, they were greeted by the smell of fresh flowers and the sight of a warm, welcoming space. The living room was modest but beautifully furnished, and a cozy kitchen waited just beyond. Ava's eyes lit up when she saw a small bedroom filled with toys, books, and colorful bedding. "Mama, look! My own room!" Ava squealed, running to the bed and hugging one of the stuffed animals. Lisa stood frozen, her hand over her mouth as tears streamed down her face. "I don't know how to thank him," she murmured, her voice shaking. The man placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You deserve this, Lisa. Elon believes in giving people the chance to rebuild." As the day unfolded, Lisa was given more details. Elon had not only arranged for the house, but had also set up a financial safety net to cover utilities and groceries for the next few months. Lisa would start her training at Tesla the following week, with a schedule flexible enough to accommodate Ava's needs. Later that afternoon, Elon himself made an appearance. Lisa was stunned to see him step through the door, dressed casually but carrying the same calm confidence she remembered. "I wanted to make sure everything was to your liking," he said with a warm smile. Lisa couldn't speak. She simply shook her head and hugged him tightly, something she hadn't planned but couldn't hold back. "That's all you need to say," Elon said softly, looking over at Ava, who was beaming. "Now it's your turn to dream again." That day, Lisa and Ava didn't just gain a home, they gained a future. And for the first time in years, they dared to hope again. Word of Elon Musk's act of kindness spread quickly, and soon, the story of Lisa and Ava's transformation was the talk of the community. It wasn't just the fact that a billionaire had stepped in to help a struggling single mom. It was the way he did it, with humility and genuine care, that touched people's hearts. Local news stations picked up the story after neighbors noticed the sudden changes in Lisa's life. A reporter visited the quiet street where Lisa's new home stood and shared her story on the evening news. The segment showed Lisa's gratitude, Ava's joyful smile, and the details of Elon's thoughtful actions. The audience couldn't help but feel moved. "He didn't just throw money at the problem," one neighbor remarked to the reporter. "He gave her a chance, a real chance to build a better future." The impact of the story rippled through the community. A small business owner who watched the news decided to create a donation drive for other single parents in need. Inspired by Elon's gesture, people began donating groceries, clothes, and even job opportunities to families struggling in similar ways. Within days, a grassroots movement had started, with the community coming together to uplift one another. Social media platforms lit up with posts about Lisa's story. Some praised Elon for using his wealth and influence to make a tangible difference, while others shared their own stories of hardship, hoping to inspire further acts of kindness. One comment on a viral post stood out. "It's not about how much money you have, it's about how much you care. If Elon Musk can take time out of his life to help someone, so can we." Lisa, overwhelmed by the support, found herself becoming a symbol of hope. She spoke at local community events, sharing her journey and encouraging others to keep fighting through tough times. "If someone like me can find a way forward," she said during one gathering, "then so can you. Never stop believing in better days." Meanwhile, Elon's quiet humility throughout the ordeal only fueled the admiration. He declined interviews and instead encouraged people to focus on the broader message, the power of kindness, and the responsibility we have to lift others when they need it most. In the end, the community's reaction wasn't just about celebrating one act of kindness. It was a call to action, a reminder that even small gestures can create big changes when we come together. Lisa's life changed in ways she never thought possible. With a stable home, financial security, and the job Elon had arranged for her, she no longer had to choose between survival and her daughter's future. For the first time in years, she felt like she could breathe. On her first day at Tesla, Lisa was nervous. She wasn't sure if she'd fit in or if she'd be able to keep up. But as soon as she walked into the training session, she was greeted warmly by the team, many of whom knew her story. Instead of judgment, she found encouragement. Her trainer reassured her, "You're here because you deserve to be. We'll teach you everything you need to know." Lisa threw herself into her new role, eager to prove herself. Each day she learned more, growing in confidence and skill. By the end of her first month, she had become an integral part of her team. She even started sharing her ideas during meetings, something she never thought she'd have the courage to do. At home, Ava thrived in the stability they now had. She loved her new school, where she quickly made friends. Her teachers noticed her curiosity and determination, especially when she talked about wanting to become a doctor. "She's a bright kid with big dreams," one teacher told Lisa during a parent-teacher meeting. "Whatever you're doing, keep it up." Hearing that filled Lisa with pride. She finally felt like she was giving Ava the life she deserved. The little girl who used to worry about where they'd sleep now spent her evenings drawing pictures of her new happy house and writing stories about adventures with her mom. But Lisa didn't stop at just rebuilding her own life. She felt a deep need to give back. Inspired by Elon's kindness and the community's support, she started volunteering at a local shelter on weekends. She helped other single moms navigate the challenges of finding work and balancing family, sharing her own experiences to inspire them. "If I can come back from rock bottom, so can you," she'd tell them, her voice steady with conviction. One evening, as Lisa tucked Ava into bed, her daughter asked, "Mama, do you think we'll ever see Mr. Elon again?" Lisa smiled, brushing Ava's hair back. "Maybe someday. But even if we don't, we'll always remember what he did for us." Over time, Lisa's transformation became a story of resilience and gratitude. She wasn't just surviving anymore, she was thriving. Her story became a beacon of hope for others, a reminder that even in the darkest times, a single act of kindness could change everything. Lisa often reflected on the night Elon stopped to help her on the side of the road. It was a moment that had turned her life around, but it had also reminded her of the power of compassion. It wasn't just about the help she received, it was about what she chose to do with it. And Lisa was determined to make every moment count. A few months after Lisa and Ava had settled into their new life, there was an unexpected knock at their door. Lisa opened it to find Elon Musk standing there, dressed simply in jeans and a jacket, holding a small box in his hands. For a moment, she was too stunned to speak. "Mind if I come in?" he asked with a warm smile. "Of course," Lisa said, quickly stepping aside. Ava, hearing the familiar voice, ran into the living room. "Mr. Elon!" she exclaimed, throwing her arms around him. Elon chuckled and knelt to her level. "How's my favorite little scientist doing?" he asked, handing her the box. Inside was a small science kit, complete with tools and experiments. Ava's eyes lit up as she hugged him again, already brimming with excitement to try it out. As Ava disappeared into her room to explore her new gift, Elon and Lisa sat down in the living room. "I just wanted to check in and see how things were going," he said. "It looks like you've made this place a real home." Lisa nodded, her eyes glistening. "I don't know how to thank you. You gave us more than a home. You gave us hope. Everything is different now because of you." Elon waved her gratitude away. "I didn't do it alone. You're the one who's made this work. You've built this life with your own strength." Lisa smiled, her voice steady despite her emotion. "But you believed in us when no one else did. That made all the difference." Elon stood, looking around at the warmth and love filling the home. "Just keep paying it forward, Lisa. That's how we make the world better." As he left, Lisa and Ava waved goodbye, their hearts full of gratitude and determination to honor the chance they'd been given. Months turned into a year, and Lisa's life was no longer defined by struggle. She had grown into her new role at Tesla, earning the respect of her colleagues and supervisors. Ava, once shy and unsure, now thrived in school, often coming home with stories of her accomplishments and dreams. One evening, as Lisa tucked Ava into bed, the little girl looked up and said, "Mama, do you think we'll ever help someone like Mr. Elon helped us?" Lisa's heart swelled. "I hope so," she replied softly. "That's the best way we can thank him, by making sure someone else gets the same chance." That night, Lisa sat in the quiet of their living room, reflecting on how much her life had changed. She thought of the night her car broke down, when a stranger decided to stop and offer not just help but hope. Elon Musk's act of kindness had started a chain reaction, not just for her and Ava, but for their community and beyond. The following weekend, Lisa volunteered at the local shelter, sharing her story with others who were going through similar struggles. Her words carried weight, not just because of where she had been, but because of the sincerity with which she believed in a better future. Lisa's journey became a reminder to everyone she met that even in the darkest moments, kindness has the power to change everything. And while Elon Musk might have been the one to start the journey, it was Lisa and Ava's courage and resilience that made it a success. As Lisa watched Ava grow into the confident, bright girl she was meant to be, she knew one thing for certain. No matter how small, a single act of kindness can ripple through countless lives, creating a legacy of hope. Thank you for joining us on this heartfelt journey of kindness and hope. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories. And before you go, check out the videos on your screen. They're filled with more uplifting tales that you won't want to miss. See you in the next one.